Hey guys, what is up and welcome back to my channel. As you guys can tell from the title of today's video, I wanted to start doing my manga and comic book wrap-ups in their own separate video because I feel like recently I've had a lot of people coming around to like my channel wanting to read that and wanting a little bit more information on them. So I thought I would actually start doing them separately. I've been seeing booktubers doing this for a really long time, so I thought I would finally jump on the train and actually do it. So today I want to talk to you about all of the manga and comics that I have read this month. I'm pulling up my phone right now because there are actually a few of them that I don't have anymore. They were either borrowed from the library or I have lent them out to friends since then, but I'm gonna go ahead and get started and talk to you guys all about my favorite manga, comics, and anime of the month. So the first comic I actually read was Fence. I loved this. This was actually the Pages and Panels or the Panels book club pick of the month. I really like this book. This follows our main character, Nicholas. He is a fencer by nature. He just loves to fence because his father is actually also a fencer. Dad doesn't want anything to do with him. He doesn't know that he really exists at all. And one day Nicholas is actually accepted into a prestigious fencing school, but to be able to stay on and continue his scholarship, he actually has to place on the fencing team. I really like this. I also think there's a little bit of a boy-on-boy romance in this as well. I'm not far enough along into it that anything like that has happened, but I definitely feel like it has those kinds of themes in it. So if you like sports comics and you like male-male romance, I think you'll really like this. The next comic I read is actually Snot Girl Volume 1 by Brian Lee O'Malley, Brian Green. And I actually really liked this. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be more of like a slice of life kind of comic, but it actually ended up being a little bit darker. It does follow our main character and she is a fashion, lifestyle, and beauty vlogger, but her life isn't as great as it seems online. She has really shitty friends, she has a really shitty ex-boyfriend, and she has like a post-nasal drip constantly. Which, funny enough, I can pretty much 100% relate with. My allergies are always all over the place, but it just was so fun to kind of read. I actually hated the main character so much, but I loved the supporting characters, and I love the overall theme of the book as well. There's actually an accident that happens, and our main character thinks that it's her fault, and she's trying to figure out kind of what's going on. It was just a lot deeper and darker than I thought it was going to be, so if you want to be a little bit surprised by a comic, I would definitely check that one out. And the next comic that I read is a comic that I ended up getting 2 stars to, and I will probably not continue with the series. I actually still have I think I have the first 10 volumes of this checked out from the library, but I'm actually planning on just returning them today, and that would be Paper Girls Volume 1. I really liked the kind of supernatural aspect of this comic book, but I did not like the main characters. There's a lot of gay slander in it. There is a lot of just general bullying. I also had trouble connecting with the characters because of their age. I feel like they were doing things that didn't really make sense for their age, and I have heard people speak about that before in the past. Most importantly, G from Book Rose, she has actually said before that that was kind of the issue that she struggled with, and when I was hearing her say that, I was like, oh, I'll be fine. But no, I also struggled with that. So that is unfortunate. I won't be continuing with the series at all. I know it is a beloved series by a lot of people, but I don't really like comics that are just comics for the sake of shock value. I think that there is a time and place, and I'm not one to police any kind of problematic content. If you want to read it, that's totally fine, but you have to at some point decide what you're comfortable with reading, and unfortunately that is not a comic that I am comfortable with reading. Alright, the next book that I want to talk about is actually my favorite read of the month, and that would be I Hear the Sunspot. This book actually follows our main character, Kohei. He is a deaf student at the university, and because of that, because of some misunderstandings and him being unable to kind of communicate how he's feeling, he actually keeps his distance from a lot of students at the school. But one day he actually does meet Taichi, and they kind of develop a friendship because the first thing that he says to Kohei is, it's not your fault that you are deaf, it is not your fault that you have trouble understanding what people say. And the reason why I like this is because they develop a little bit of a friendship and a little bit more than that. It's never actually said in this book that there is kind of a relationship brewing between the two of them, but you definitely get a feel for it. It's also just really nice and sweet and lighthearted, but also deep at the same time. And it really warmed my soul a little bit, and I think you guys should read this. I've actually picked up the second one, which is called The Theory of Happiness. It's a bit bigger than this one as well, so I'm really excited for that, but I just genuinely love this, and I think that everybody should read it. And then I read what will always be the saddest manga, and that would be Orange Volume 1. This is massive. I have the second one on its way to me soon. I actually ordered it from Book Depository this time around. This actually follows a group of high school students. Our main character wakes up one day and it is her start of the 11th grade of her final grade of high school, and she actually is late for the first time ever. And on her way out, she actually gets a letter, which she reads when she arrives to school, and it is actually a letter from herself from 10 years in the future. And what the letter says is that she needs to protect a student that's going to be coming to their school this year. And the reason why I like this is because I feel like it had a lot of questions that people ask themselves a lot, like, would you want to go back and change your past? Do you think that it would be good? Do you think that you'd be able to do it knowing what the future is? This was just so heartwarming and touching and really hard to read. The only thing I don't like about this book is there's a lot of miscommunication between the characters, but because of the content of it, because of the way that it is written, because of the depth of the characters, I can definitely see past that. And the other reason I really like this book is it does have more heavy themes. It does kind of revolve around suicide, and I don't know, I felt like it was a really good read for me at the moment, and I definitely would recommend it to anyone who wants something a little bit deeper but also slightly fluffy. A lot of the characters are also very funny in this, but I would definitely recommend it. I obviously gave it 5 out of 5 stars, and I can't wait to read the second one. All right, so the next one I have here, I'm really excited to talk to you guys about, and it'd be Your Name. This is an animated movie that I've been wanting to watch for a very long time, but I haven't really figured out where to watch it, or hadn't at the time. And my husband has seen it and said that I was going to love it, so I actually ended up just buying the manga. I have the 3 of them. I think there's only 3 of them, but I read the first one this month. It wasn't as great as I thought it was going to be. I ended up giving it, I think, 3 out of 5 stars or 4 out of 5 stars. I still really did like it. It follows our 2 main characters, and they both kind of want to be in different places. They don't really like their life that much, so they end up switching when they sleep, just magically switching. And I really liked this book. I feel like it was a lot lighter than I thought it was going to be, but at the ending of this one, they just suddenly don't switch anymore, and they don't get to see each other or like communicate at all. So I need to read the second one and kind of figure out what is going on. But a lot of people said that this movie is wonderful and the movie is better than the manga, so I can't wait to finally watch the movie. Alright, and the last manga that I'm going to be talking about is actually not with me, but it would be, again, Volume 1. This is by the same creator of Yuri on Ice, and if you've been here for any amount of time, you will know that I absolutely adore Yuri on Ice. It is one of my favorite anime ever, and I loved this manga as well. I think I ended up giving it 4 stars because there's a little bit of slut shaming in this. It would have been a 5-star read for me if not for that. This follows our main character, Kenichiro. He is actually a senior in their high school, and he is going to his graduation one day, like his final last day of high school. And then he decides on his very last day, obviously at his graduation, that he wants to go and visit the building that has the club that he was asked to join on his first day of high school that he decided not to join. And he is actually met there by a girl who's incredibly intimidated by him because most of the people at his school are. And she actually falls down the stairs, and he tries to help her, and then he falls down the stairs, and they wake up on their first day of high school 3 years ago. And I thought this manga was so fun. I am definitely one of those people who would like to travel back to high school and kind of relive and redo a lot of different things. So I think this resonated with me a lot more than I thought it would. But the other reason why I really like this is it definitely has that feel of slice of life, but it has a little bit more of a deeper theme to it because he's judged very harshly on the way that he looks. There's also a girl in the book who is slut-shamed a lot because she is the captain of the Uedon. I don't know how to say it. There's a club that she's a part of, which is kind of like juxtaposed to the cheerleading team. It is more of a traditional cheerleading team, and everybody makes fun of her and everybody thinks she's really harsh and cruel, including our main character at one point. And I think that it just had a lot of depth to character. I wouldn't say it is my favorite manga that I've ever read, but it was definitely very enjoyable, and I have actually already picked up the second one, so I can't wait to finish the series. Alright, so now I'm going to get into the anime that I actually binged this month. I am so excited to talk about this. It is Aiko. I'll insert a picture of it here on the screen so you guys can actually see it. I genuinely loved this anime. There was only a few episodes towards the end where I was kind of wishy-washy about what was kind of going on, but this actually follows a biological research facility in 2035 that has figured out a way to kind of implement artificial intelligent like cell organisms into people. Like, they are able to create essentially clones, but they are artificially intelligent. And the reason why I really like this is while that is like a huge fear of mine, I'm becoming more and more intrigued by it. And the reason why I liked this anime a lot is because the characters were so good. I definitely connected with a lot of the characters on this. It is a little bit spooky, a little bit dark. There is a part of the planet that they live on that is affected by something called the burst, which is essentially these organisms that kind of grow. They look like the Blob essentially, and they attack anything and everyone within their distance, like anyone within like their sphere that they live in. And it was so cool. My husband and I actually watched it in about 2 weekends when we had time off. And I absolutely loved it. I think I ended up giving it like 4 out of 5 stars just because there was a few episodes that I was kind of wishy-washy on, as well as there's some of it was slightly confusing. But if you're wanting a little bit more of a darker anime, this is a Netflix original, so you can find it on Netflix. I don't know if you can find it in the UK or not, but they definitely have it on the America one. And I'm really hoping there's going to be a season 2 because the ending was kind of left a little bit open. And I'm really excited to see if they do a second one. Alright guys, so that is going to be it for my comic, manga, and anime wrap-up. I am so excited to be talking about more of these with you guys. I will leave the panel's book club down below, as well as Natalie's channel, so you guys can check her out. She does primarily focus on comic and manga, so if you need any more recommendations, that is definitely where I would go. That is actually where I go for my recommendations, so if you need any more information, you can find that down below. As well as there is a video on my channel that my husband and I actually did about where to start with comic and manga if you guys are interested. So that is going to be it for this video. If you guys liked it, please give it a thumbs up and think about subscribing, but I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!